Prize Picks, run your game when you want. So yesterday, the Cavs beat the Wizards. They destroyed them. It wasn't close. Donovan and Darius both got knocked up during the game, banged up, but not.
Wait a minute. Whoa.
They're not
Breaking news.
Listen, they both had physical contact with Jonas Valanciunas.
Knocked up.
Banged up was the proper terminology. My bad. But the game was pretty much a snooze fest. They were in complete control.
Buried the lead.
So the thing I wanted to talk about was a report I saw online from Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype, who's pretty reputable, and he put out that the Cavs are one of a few teams, along with the Warriors, the Sixers, the Heat, and the Suns, who are just keeping tabs on Kyle Kuzma as the season progresses for the Wizards. And we've talked at length, and G, I'm going to start with you here, that the Cavs don't have a ton of size on the wing. They don't really have that traditional 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" wing to match up with some of the bigger wings in the East and the West come playoff time. So with the report from Michael Scotto that the Cavs could be interested in Kyle Kuzma, is that a good fit for Cleveland? Is that a trade or at least a player you think is worth pursuing if you were Kobe Altman?
I've always liked Kyle Kuzma. I always liked his game. I always liked his versatility, his length. I think he can get hot and become an elite scorer. He stretches the floor. I think he's more of a streaky three-point shooter than a guy that I would say is like a knockdown shooter. But the thing I like most about him is the length, the ability to play on the wing, match up with a lot of guys. If you're playing with the Celtics, you got Tatum, you got Brown. He could match up on those guys, and instantly that would make the Cavs a much longer team. I think it would make them a much more formidable opponent when you look at the way those two teams match up. But here's the problem. This comes off to me as one of those middle of the season, January, December type articles where you're like, okay, let me throw some teams in there. We're going to keep an eye on Kyle Kuzma. What does that mean? Like, what does keeping an eye on the guy in the NBA really mean? Like, I keep an eye on a lot of people. Like, I'm like, okay, I like guys. I watch that game, I like them. It comes down to, do you have the assets? Do you have the capital? And are you willing to go over the salary cap? So everybody knows the Cavs are at this point. I think, like you said, I think they're over the cap right now as it stands, aren't they? The luxury tax.
They're just over.
So they're going to have to get rid of some salary to even, basically be under that threshold.
Kuzma has a pretty good contract.
Like
it's definitely doable.
I wouldn't mind going over the threshold for Kyle Kuzma. Like, that's me. But, Jason and, a lot of people say that's not what we try to do. But for me, yeah.
I don't think he's a fit, man.
You don't like it?
No, I don't think so, because he's throughout his career, he's like, he'll fill the stat sheet. Mm-hmm. I think he's a smart player. I think he takes bad shots. Well, I think he's a guy that doesn't play good defense, so if he does not making up for it on the offensive end, he's kind of a liability, I think. I should say this. For a guy with his size and skill set, mm-hmm. he doesn't make up for it with what he should be doing. You know what I mean?
And he's shooting 5 threes a game and shooting 27%.
And the best he's ever been is 36%, and that's
yeah,
whatever.
I don't know much about him, but I was reading an article because I'm like, well, I don't know enough about Kyle Kuzma. And I read 2 different articles about Kyle Kuzma. Both of these NBA writers agreed he was a bad fit for the Cavs.
I want to ask Mike a question. At this point, any move the Cavaliers make, the first question they ask before they make it is, does this give us a better chance of beating the Celtics? I don't care what he is against the other 28 teams.
Right.
I only care what he does against the Celtics.
And he plays on a bad team. Like, when you're on bad teams,
which is sometimes hard to judge what he's really like.
Exactly.
You're on bad teams, you take bad shots.
Mike, does he make the Cavs better
and you develop
against
bad habits.
the Celtics? Does he create mismatch problems? If we're not better against the Celtics, then I say don't do it.
Yeah, I did a little stream on this on Monday. I am not a Kyle Kuzma fan personally. I don't think this moves the needle in a major way for the Cavs in necessarily either direction.
Right.
And the Cavs, when you look at the assets they have to trade, they have enough from an asset standpoint to acquire Kyle Kuzma. But you have one bullet to fire if you're the Cavs before you are locked into this roster because, as G mentioned, once you go to that first apron of the luxury tax, you're kind of stuck in that range. And I don't think Kuzma's the guy that's worth shooting your bullet for to then lock you in. He helps on paper, but But to Dustin's point and to what Bull said earlier, when he got drafted to the Lakers, he was a perfect sidekick with LeBron and AD. He cut. It was the best shooting season of his career. It was in the bubble, too, which helped, and everyone kind of shot better in the bubble. But since then, he is as streaky of a three-point shooter as it gets. I mean, he'll go 5 for 7 one night, and then he'll go 3 games in a row without making 2 threes.
Yeah.
And if you're going to try to get a big wing who has playmaking, which Kuzma does on paper, but he does bring that facet. He has a playmaking ability that the current wings for the Cavs don't have at that size. I just don't think he's the piece that necessarily completes the puzzle. And if you have the assets for one bullet, you got one move to make, I'm waiting for someone I think fits a little better than Kyle Kuzma.
Who's the guy from the Nets we were talking about? Mike, I forgot his name.
I mean, Cam Johnson's the perfect fit.
But they wouldn't be able to get him.
They don't have the assets to get Cam Johnson.
That's the catch-22. You know, you could wait a long time. You could look around. You could say it. I'm telling you, Kyle Kuzma, when you'll be surprised what players do when you put them in a good system, in a good situation. When you playing on the Wizards, let's look at it like this. Kristaps Porzingis played on the Wizards, and people didn't. His stock around the league was like, that's Porzingis. I mean, is he going to be healthy? Is he going to shoot? How is he going to play? And the Celtics was like, we think he'll do fine with our system and what we got. So they took him off there, brought him back, and he's playing well. I'm not going to say that this guy is the missing piece of some sort, but I do believe if you want to say, all right, we already got Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert is kind of streaky. We got George.
Well, Karis LeVert would probably be in the trade.
George Niang is a guy who's a streaky guy. If you ask me, would you bet on Kyle Kuzma over George Niang? Yeah.
Don't you think I feel like if the Cavs are going to use their one bullet on a trade, to Jay's point about Boston, I feel like you need a wing guy that's a good defender.
I agree.
Yes.
He needs to be able to knock down a shot. He can't be useless offensively, but it's got to be a guy that's a good defender. I think that's the most important thing, because that's the problem with Boston is they got all these wing players that are huge, and the Cavs can't guard them. What's the guy? Bruce Brown. Mike, you like him as a defender, right?
I like Bruce Brown more than Kuzma.
Yeah, but is he going to give you enough offensively? Because you can't just be a one-way player.
Yeah.
Boston.
Can he do enough offensively?
He's nowhere near.
I mean, he's not
Kuzma,
the creator.
Offensively.
Kuzma is, but he does all the in the Cavs system. The way they're using Okoro, from an offensive standpoint, he's a better version of Okoro.
Do we need to make a move, Mike?
I mean, they're 19-3. It's the best record in basketball. I don't.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter. As Jay said, and he's right. It's about beating Boston. I mean, that's it.
I would feel a lot better with some more size.
Is Bruce Brown the best player they can get for their team?
Give me a sec.
Yeah, I mean, because some of these other guys, you don't have, as you said, you don't have the assets to give up. Unfortunately, it'd be like if the Cavs were able to trade like this year's number 1 or something. But obviously you had to give all that up for Donovan, which was worth it.
I'm telling you. Listen, if you go ask Donovan Mitchell.
By the way, isn't it funny that within a couple of years of each other, the Browns and Cavs made 2 of the biggest trades in their franchise history?
We compared them at the time.
Yeah.
We said it was almost like the Cavs saw what the Browns did and said, we see your Deshaun Watson move. We're going to raise it. The only thing is, for the Cavs, like so much of what they do, it worked out.
Yeah, but at first you weren't sure because you thought he might leave, and like if he had left, it wouldn't have been as bad as Deshaun Watson.
It is a miracle it worked out this well.
It
never happens like this.
It's like a 10.
Yes,
and the Deshaun fit negative 5,000.
I think that's why it's important. You have to pull the trigger. Like if you feel like you can get better, the move may not work in the end. It may not. The player might not be what you thought. The guy might not sign. He may have injury. But if you're a general manager, you can't be sitting around with all your toy soldiers. You better pull the trigger and live with the results. That's the business. That's the game.
All those draft picks the Cavs traded, at least for the next few years, they're late first-round picks.
Where are they going to play? Where are they going to go?
Right. We don't need them.
And we're picking, 28th, 26th, whatever.
Right.
With a deep playoff run.
Yeah.
As good as the Cavs move was to get Donovan Mitchell, the Browns move was even worse.
Oh, yeah. Because, but right now the move's great. And if the Cavs do win a championship, then it's an all-time great move.
They're having parades for Kobe.
I think when you bring it back to the Cavs, the question is, do you got enough? They beat them yesterday without Jaylen Brown and Derek White. That's a lot of firepower. And I know we say,
well, we have pieces missing too. They're not as big.
I mean,
Vanilla Wolf, Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Well, even White. I mean, White's their fourth best player, right?
Sure.
I mean, Derek White is on the Olympic squad. You need something in the chamber when you going against them squads. And role players, Bruce Brown is a role player.
So anybody they're going to get now is a role player.
I need role player upside. If Kyle Kuzma get hot, he can give me 30.
All right.
Bruce Brown was a very important piece in the Nuggets championship team 2 years ago.
I
he's
get
got
that.
a $50 million contract for being an incredible cog in their offense.
But you know what the Big Four was. You already know you had Jokic. You already had Porter.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Brown fits in. Brown was the fifth guy.
Right, but they don't need him to be a top four. They have their top four.
That's my point. That's why I'm saying I like Bruce Brown.
If Bruce Brown is a better version of Okoro, that sounds like a pretty good piece to have.
It's an upgrade.
Like if you had a bigger Okoro that could score a little more, that's a pretty nice piece to have on this team.
I mean,
because he's not as big a scorer as Kuzma doesn't mean he's not a better player.
Just because Kuzma ain't traditionally played no defense does not mean that he don't go to a place with an opportunity to have a championship play.
I was having a conversation with someone in the NBA on Monday about not Kuzma specifically, but players who go from bad teams to good teams and the adjustment it takes from playing in a game. Because we're talking about Jordan Poole, I'll just fold this, which is not Kuzma, but same team. They haven't played in a meaningful basketball game in over 2 years. They haven't played in a single meaningful basketball game.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And I'll give you two examples they used, one for the good, one for the bad. Last year, P.J. Washington got traded from the Hornets to the Mavericks and was a crucial piece on them reaching the championship. He flourished in the, I haven't played in a real game forever, these games matter, let's go. Terry Rozier was traded from the Hornets to the Heat and has struggled to buy in. And Kuzma could go either way. He's played at the highest level with the Lakers. He has not played in a game that matters an ounce. He has not played in one meaningful basketball game in over 2 years.
That is very true.
You have no idea how he's going to react to now being thrust into a playoff situation.
It's a crapshoot. This is why I love high leverage basketball and high level of sports. Because it's easy to sit when you're a middling team or you ain't good. All the decisions is like, I could pass on that, or we're not really good enough to compete. But when you start to get where we are now, that's what he get paid the big bucks for. Is to figure out if Kyle Kuzma fits and do you have enough cojones to pull the trigger on a guy who you think can make you better, but you already got a great record. That's the question.
And to be fair, I can't believe I would have never thought I would say this his first year or two in the job, certainly. But Kobe deserves benefit of the doubt right now.
Yeah, he does.
I'm going to trust him if he makes a trade.
He's got a lot of trust equity right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
His moves have been golden.
I remember when they signed Kevin Love, I'm like, this is one of the dumbest moves ever. It makes no sense to sign Kevin Love. And it seemed like early in his tenure, I was like, this guy doesn't deserve this job. This is terrible. But kudos to him because he's made a lot of smart moves.
Mike, I wanted to ask you something on last night's game. They talked about how Porter played in the G League game.
Yeah, both.
In the afternoon.
Him and Tyson, then they both played in the...
Is that common?
No.
I don't ever remember.
Strange,
I don't ever remember hearing that before.
Well, most of the G League teams don't play at the NBA arena.
No, I get that.
It
so
was
there's
more
very
of an
few
anomaly.
opportunities that you could do that.
Yeah.
But I can't
remember it ever happening.
I was blown away when they said it, and then they showed he played well, and they showed some of his highlights. They showed his dunk,
dude. Yeah,
that was filthy.
Yeah.
And then he's out there. I mean, imagine that you're playing in your second professional basketball game of the day.
Well, they played doubleheaders in baseball.
Yeah, exactly. But you're not exerting all the energy that you're exerting in basketball.
They played doubleheaders in AAU, played triple headers.
Remember in high school?
You could play 5 quarters in high school.
Yeah. So in high school, I used to play JV when I was a freshman, and then get to
fifth quarter,
and then get to play, and then get to dress in the layup line when you play basketball for varsity. So you get that 2 and 2, you'd be like,
you were the only one out there without the tearaway pants on. You just had the shorts on.
No, I had the tearaway.
Oh, they gave you tearaways? Yeah. So I got to wear with the varsity, but I didn't get the pants.
Yeah. Now, Mike Doss, Mike Doss had a whole nother rule. Like, Mike Doss was out there.
Oh, he was a good basketball player, too?
Good at everything.
Yeah, he was.
He played baseball also?
Probably could have been great.
5 quarters in Ohio?
Yes.
Yeah, so my freshman year,
I got to play
my freshman year, they put me for 1 quarter of JV. Shoot as many times as you can.
Pull up,
play varsity.
and then you're feeling good because then
yeah.
you know them JV games be sparse a little bit. You go out and put some buckets up. You're like, yeah, you saw me. I'm about to be going varsity. You just looking around. I just went to tear.
By the way, real quick, I don't even know the name of this girl, but I was watching this. Pause. I was watching this video
start to a story
of this girl who's a senior in high school, one of the best players in the country. She's like 6'7", and there was a video of her dunking and it was pretty easy. Like she was easily.
Oh, I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Was it a throwdown?
Yeah, it was effort.
Because I've never really seen
effortless.
The cup and
it wasn't a
throwdown.
back,
Not like that, but she was dunking easy. It wasn't it wasn't.
Well, at 6'7", you don't need much vert to do that.
You could tell this woman's like an incredible athlete.
Wow.
Bull, before we move on to the Guardians, you asked who's the best case scenario.
Yeah.
I think it's Herb Jones.
Herb Jones, he's a veteran, right?
Wow, okay.
Out of New Orleans, if they decide to blow it up, they've had the season from hell. Everyone's hurt.
So why is he better than Kuzma or Brown?
Well, he's like 6'. He's an elite defender.
Okay.
Legit elite defender.
And he's
young,
big?
on a good contract. It's listed at 6'8". He was here last year when they played New Orleans.
Okay.
Long, lanky, and really, really, really versatile defender.
An elite defender, you said?
Yeah, I think he was second team All-NBA.
Like you could put him on Tatum and Brown.
100%.
Well, what would it take to get him?
Yeah, that's what I like.
Not a ton, because they have so many wings. If they just decide, hey, we're going with Trey Murphy. I mean, Ingram's on the list of guys you could trade for, too. Ingram's in that same Kuzma mode. I like Ingram more than Kuzma, but...
Well, you never said... Now, hold on now. You're bait and switching me. You never say nothing about no Ingram, and you going to throw it out there to
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, he's in that list of guys on the wing. Yeah. But
and he likes him more than
Kuzma.
He doesn't love Kuzma, though.
Yeah. I'm like, I would have took Ingram,
Ingram
too. I would have took Ingram. Oh, I'd take Ingram.
Last year, Herb Jones averaged 11 points. He's listed at 6'8", 210 on ESPN.
Yeah.
Last season, he averaged 11 points on 50% from the field, 42% from three on 4 attempts per game, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 1.5 steals per game.
Okay, can
and
we get
an
on the
elite
phone
defender?
right now?
That sounds like a guy you want.
Let's get on the phone right now.
26 years old, but they have some other wings that they're trying to play.
Yeah,
same.
Yeah, and he's been hurt this year.
Feels like he's been around a long time.
But he's the guy.
That sounds like
Cavs
a great
in a perfect
fit, Mike.
scenario.
I can't believe you bait and switched like that. He rolled out that topic with the third best player on the board.
And all of a sudden at the end, Brandon Ingram.